Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and today we're going to be revisiting the power level of the Hunter. Now, this is a composite Hunter, meaning I will be crossing him over with other franchises such as the Tekken games, which is another Capcom inverse connection, and Marvel's Capcom Infinity. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, starting off at the lowest level, we easily have mountain level, and this is because Hellblade Glavenus is able to turn mountains to dust with a single swipe of his tail, and it's an official game description here. With Hellblade Glavenus being one of the elder level variants, this could basically mean the Hunter could surpass these mountain level attacks here. And with things like Thunderlords and Ogre, Elder Frost Gamut, Electric Astalos, Soul Seer Mitsune, and again, Hellblade Glavenus, who's the scaling point, which would be kind of hand in hand here. However, we have the multi-continental scaling, which actually relates to these monsters as well. This comes from Amatsu and Shantian, who are pretty much in a similar boat here. We have the sheer fact that Amatsu was able to cause pretty much an entire storm across the Kimura region, which is a multitude of continents put together. And then you just have the sheer fact that Shantian is actually one of the known rivals of Amatsu, and they should scale to each other in power, as well as Kushala Daora, who is stated to also be a rival or a potential rival to Shantian, with it being a little bit scarce here. Now, we do have the island level feats here, like Kushala Daora being able to disperse a snowstorm like casually, like it was nothing to him. But then again, we have the continental to multi-continental scaling from Kirin, who was able to cause a storm that affected the entire Coral Highlands. So again, continental, multi-continental. And again, these these elder dragons will actually scale to multi-continental at their base level states and possibly even reach moon level. And this is important because Shara Ishvalda, a monster that was able to affect the entirety of the New World via his earthquake manipulation and was actually shaking the entire continent over and over again, was literally no match for Nergigante. This is important because Shara Ishvalda actually had to stop his vibrations once Nergigante actually comes there, meaning he was afraid of the monster. Now, right back when I said here, what does this have to do with Apex and, the ascended variants or ascended subspecies of these monsters? Well, Monster Hunter Rise gave us a turf war between Apex Zenogre and Amatsu. Again, the same as Amatsu that was affecting the entire Kimura region. And we all know that these species, or at least the Apex species, scale to each other hand in hand here. So this means beasts like Mitsune, Brachydios, Glavenus, Astalos, Gormagala, Geocris, Gameth, Negakuja, Tigrex, and so on and so forth, would scale to this because they either scale to or sometimes scale over Tigrex. Not Tigrex, Zenogre. So this would mean that these variants, these subspecies, these apexes, and these, these regular normal predators here would actually scale to multi-continental, or at least respectively multi-continental. And this would mean the Elder Dragons are possibly moon level because they do scale to each other hand in hand, with some Elder Dragons like Nergigante and possibly even the likes of Malzeno, Nakarkos, Cadeus, and Runer Nergigante would all be above the dragons that are capable of multi-continental damage. So you have a hunter that pretty much is already at moon level based off the stats and just pretty much getting up to the levels where these pretty much above the monsters that are simply, I guess you could say up there in terms of busting entire continents and affecting entire continents casually. However, it doesn't stop there for the hunter, as we do have the planet to star level margins. So without further ado, we're going to discuss the simple tier, the black dragons. Now you might say, why I say this is a simple tier? Because it's simple for scaling. We do know that White Fatalis is planetary plus, possibly even higher if you consider that there are monsters stronger than Fatalis, such as Dire Moralis, I believe Shao Damador as well. Excuse me. And you have Dishu Fiora, but I'll get into that later. So with Black Fatalis, right, he should be planetary. I mean, that should be pretty simple, as Fatalis is one of the few monsters that is known to destroy the world. And you have the sheer fact that Black Fatalis is slightly above Xenojiva. I wouldn't say by too much of a great margin, but I would say that it's very significant enough to where, Sapphire Jiva, if it was able to evolve further, would have been a rival for Fatalis. This means that Sapphire Jiva should be in the same league as Elytrion, if not just a tad bit weaker or maybe a tad bit stronger. However, I do say a tad bit weaker because of how the game pretty much has him in rank. You fight Sapphire Jiva first, then you fight Elytrion, then you basically fight Fatalis. Okay? So monsters of that caliber or monsters of that equivalent should be in the same league. However, if we do say Sapphire Jiva is stronger than Elytrion, I would still say Elytrion has the more versatile kit and would probably still beat Sapphire Jiva, despite it having a much more physical update. So again, Sapphire Jiva would possibly be moon level, considering it is stronger than Ruder Nergigante at its, well, I guess you could say at this teenage stage. You then have Elytrion, which would then put this at planetary as well. I would say Elytrion is also a planet buster due to the sheer scale of things here. And then you have White Fatalis. So White Fatalis, who is above Crimson Fatalis, who is above Elytrion. So this would mean, if my math is correct, or at least if my scaling is correct here, being above multiple planetary monsters and even being above moon level, this could put White Fatalis in the star level department. The sheer fact that White Fatalis is known as not only the strongest monster, but a monster with supposedly immeasurable power, okay? Each scale or each, wing blade has something different to offer, and yet the hunter is still able to kill, beat, and even, harvest Fatalis very easily. However, we do have to discuss something else, and that's monsters stronger than even a White Fatalis, probably. Now, Shao Dalmador is definitely one of the monsters I would definitely consider stronger, or well, in a physical sense, I would say he's stronger than a White Fatalis. If not, he definitely causes more devastation and is a lot more of a threat than Fatalis. Alright, even the Fatalis gene, I would actually say here. This is due to the fact that not only do you have a good speed scaling for it, with it being able to eat and even, catch star fragments in its mouth here, and even eat it, which pretty much causes the ingestion to become pretty much a blue hot flame. You have the sheer fact that Fatalis does not show up until Dalmador is slain. You then have Dire Morales, which is another black dragon I would probably consider stronger than Fatalis, just by the sheer size and power it demonstrates here. But it is possible that it is below Fatalis simply due to how the Black Dragon Order works, with White Fatalis simply being above it. However, one monster we do know is significantly stronger is Dishu Fiora. Now, Dishu Fiora is the only Elder Dragon really known to be stronger than Fatalis, more powerful than Fatalis in general. Now, with that being said here, where would that put the Hunter as he's able to slay Dishu Fiora? This will put the Hunter around the star level department. I would definitely say, in my opinion, he would definitely be around star level. Like I said in my previous video before I deleted it, I would definitely say he's around star level just due to the sheer scaling of how White Fatalis would be planetary plus or possibly like low star level, and then you get large star level at that point. You then have the faster than light scaling, with the Hunter being able to, blitz and even kill Garuda Daorian from Frontier. So with all that being said here, the Hunter in verse would be a star level opponent, being capable of, destroying stars, destroying planets, being able to pretty much move at faster than light speeds with all of his weaponry and abilities as well. However, our scaling does not stop here, for we have to discuss the cross-verse scaling with games like Tekken and, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity. So Tekken is a crossover game of multiple Capcom verses, such as Darkstalkers, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, obviously, and, Mega Man. It has a whole bunch of, Devil May Cry and all that stuff here. And during Nergigante's story, he was actually able to overwhelm one of the few rulers of the Dark Dimension or the Dark Realm, Morgan Ainsley, who we'll get into a little bit here, and the Hunter, or at least the Hunter-Rider here, was able to fight against monsters, or at least fight against entities that were giving Mega Man X a hard time here, as well as being able to defeat these monsters naturally. This will put the hunter at a significant, pretty much a higher, like Dante, and even others like Morgan Ainslet, who are pretty much going to use like kind of like scaling points here. So with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinity, right, you also have the monster hunter in that verse who was able to block shots from the Hulk, and was actually assigned to be Black Panther's bodyguard. And obviously, using her in game, she's able to fight against and even use the Infinity Stones, and she's able to fight against characters like Ultron Sigma, who was able to merge both universes of the Capcom and Marvel universes together, making him Multiversal Plus. However, his scaling gets much higher when you look into characters like Dante and Morgan. Now, start off with Morgan, and this is a full-powered Morgan we'll be, scaling off of here. And that Morgan was not only able to destroy, was actually threatening to destroy her own Dark Kingdom, which is kind of like the Dark Dimension, which is a myriad of universes like put together. But then you have the sheer fact that she was also able to defeat the baby. Now, the baby in the Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers crossover, which is canon, by the way, which is actually pretty interesting. I mean, you really don't know what is really canon in Capcom anymore, is pretty much able to destroy both the Street Fighter and Darkstalkers universes. So with that being said here, that will put Morgan at least in the Outer Versa department, as well as her scaling to various other Marvel characters like Ghost Rider, Thor, and Hulk. You then have Dante, who I've actually used on this channel like a plethora of times, with Dante being like universal to multiversal to having outer versal, as he kept fighting demon lords that could destroy different planes of the underworld as well. And then him being able to fight entities that were stronger than Mundus, who split the universe into two, creating two more universes, which would put it at multiversal plus to, high outer. So with that being said here, where would I tier the hunter? I would actually say he's on an equal footing with these two. Probably, maybe slightly superior because he's able to deal with monsters, but you could actually chalk that up to his knowledge and how his combat skills and abilities are able to, beat these monsters. Also, let's not forget his hacks and abilities. He can channel the power of any monster he's killed. For stamina, he's superior to the Elder Dragons and even Elder Dragon level monsters who can fight for 3 days without rest. And, he's pretty skilled as he's mastered every weapon in that verse and has been able to use every weapon to take down these monsters. So without further ado, that's going to be it for the hunter. I would say he's at least in the same category as characters like Dante and Morgan. So that's going to be all for today. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.